Hi folks. So going from the last video, yes. The church, you can see it as you would see people. Excellence is available to every single human being. Every single human being can reach the point of excellence in a discipline. They can. That possibility is always there. The reason why most people don't. Most people go for the that will do. And to reach excellence, you have to put in the miles of work. You have to work incredibly hard. Yeah. There's an awful lot of work that's needed to do that. And so, yeah. Churches can be of God. But to be of God, they need to have the same mindset as a church, as a human being will have to have to reach excellence. Without that mindset, it can't be done. Because, yeah, that point you're always as weak as your weakest link. I'm not sure if that applies, because it could be the case the other way in church. You could be as strong as your strongest link. Problem is, I think for most churches, things can fall apart very quickly. But when a church is rising and doing well, pride is one of the biggest things that comes in. The lack of accountability. There can be accountability early on, but the more you do well, the less they see need for accountability. Because you're doing well, accountability can fall away. Because why would you need accountability? We're doing incredibly well. Obviously, we're doing things the right way because obviously we're doing well. So accountability goes. Yeah, the people at top, quite often, in the early stages of a church rising, they will listen to everyone. When a church has risen, now the leadership will stop listening. Bad habits is the point. Bad habits will set in. And that's where you need to keep a very close eye on those sort of bad habits. And you also have to understand, it's like any business. You have to understand with a church, you have to keep on going back to God, because it's quite likely in a church, I've spoken about this with regards to football, but it's the same with regards to a church. You may need somebody of a certain type of nature to get you to a point where you're rising. But you might need someone completely different to take you to the next level. And the problem is, quite often, churches can't see that. They can't see it, they can't do it. They're not prepared to get rid of the person who's helped them to rise. So things like loyalty. Loyalty is another bad habit that comes in. Because again, who should you be loyal to? It has to be God. It can't be people. It can't be any person. Because again, I say you have to understand, if you're looking for excellence, you need the best people for where we are right now. And where we are right now will change. So who you need will quite likely change. And so therefore, are you prepared and willing to do that? If you're not, then that's when you falter. That's when a church that has been rising comes crashing down. Excellence is most certainly attainable. But you must have the right mindset, you must have the right people. And that's why in churches right now, you generally don't see that. I'm not saying you can't see it. I'm not saying there isn't a church right now that isn't rising and hasn't been rising for a long time. There are churches that are doing a brilliant job. There are. There are churches that are doing things according to the will of God right now. And doing brilliantly. But a lot of those are going to falter because of loyalty. Or because of pride. Or because of any of those bad habits creeping in. So, again, that's the point. If you're going to be looking to build a church or help that church take over a church, help that church move forward, if you want excellence, you have to understand that your decision making, your understanding, the ways you do things have to be excellent. I say that's where a lot of people falter. A lot of people would want to be excellence, have excellence with regards to playing tennis, because you can earn a ton of money as a tennis player, or playing golf, because again you can earn a ton of money, or playing football, because you can earn a ton of money in that way. But the amount of hours you've got to put in practicing to do that, the amount of times you've got to get up really early in all weathers to practice. It takes discipline, serious discipline. Even when you have talent, you still must have that discipline. And you must have that understanding that you need the right people around you. Because you may have the best talent as a golfer or a tennis player or a football player or a basketball player or whatever. But if you've got the wrong people around you, they keep on mentioning that player, I've forgotten what his name is now, but there's a player who used to play for United. He was there at the time when Paul Pogba and Jesse Lingard were young. Ravel Morrison, I think his name was. Where Alex Ferguson said he is the best football player that Alex Ferguson has ever seen. Now, at that time, Paul Pogba was there. At that time, Fergie had seen Giggs, Scholes, Beckham. He'd seen some phenomenal players. Here is Ravel Morrison, who had such gifting, but he didn't have the right people around him. And in church, it's the same. Every single element has to be right. And only God can do that. Only God can do that. And so you have to let God be the one to lead and guide completely. You have to be in that practice of continuing to go to God. And understanding. Yeah, excellence is available. Enjoy.